Welcome back to the Chamber Exchange. In the second segment, we are joined by Stephen Lentz. He is the client advisor for Quest Energy. Welcome, Stephen. How are you?
Doing great. Thank you for having us, Gina.
Oh, absolutely. Tell us a little bit about Quest Energy.
Certainly. Well, Quest Energy, we look for energy solutions for businesses and those that have a utility bill. So certainly it's more than pricing, though we do pricing for natural gas, electricity. In fact, I'm really encouraging businesses that use natural gas to really look at that right now. Don't wait till the cold weather because it's already too late then. Look at it now. The prices that come down, lock in when it's lower prices, and you're protected. But that's not all we do. So if there's solar opportunities for both businesses and residential, we look at that, whether it be rooftop, carports, ground mounts. For those that can't do solar and don't want to do, energy credits are huge. Massachusetts introduced it a few years ago, about five, and they right now can take up to 10% off your electricity bill. You're not putting up a panel, but you're helping support green energy and reducing your overall bill. There's other solutions. We audit the bill. People see all those confusing lines on the electric bill, right? And they're not sure what it is. Well, we found about 80% of the time for small business, there's a mistake. Well, we can help them correct it. That's money back in the business's pocket. Energy efficiency for businesses and homeowners who like to see about LED lighting, or homeowners want to see about LED and insulation. There's so many projects out there. And a lot of times there's money from the utility for these projects, like electric vehicle charging stations. I mentioned those lines on the electric bill. There's a new one added on the national grid bill on the delivery. The last new item is EV chargers. So they charge, yes, they charge everybody, goes into a pool, and then businesses apply. So we set up a program. We go to utility and say, okay, for this business, what will you provide for the project? So there's money for that. There's money for upgrading to lighting. And if you don't use them, again, we're all paying for them. It's part of the bill from that in our area, National Grid. Someone else will. So we don't want to we're brokers, but we want to look at solutions overall, what the need is for the business or the whoever owns the utility bill.
So if I were to walk into, well, I can't walk into your place. I guess you're working remote. So if I were to call you up, what would you need from me if I wanted to use your services?
Certainly. We first would talk about what issues are, where you're looking at, and basically a recent utility bill, whether it be electricity, all the pages, or natural gas. Sometimes depending on gas, we just need authorization. And we review it looking for errors. For small businesses, I mentioned about 80% of the time we find something, we explain what it is, we look at their pricing, and then talk about what their needs are. So it's got to fit the business, and it's not one cookie cut, but there's certain programs that can help everybody. Like I mentioned, energy credits.
Yeah. So once you find the errors in the bill, do you then help them contact their energy company and help them get the credits as long as you have the authority?
It depends. 80% of the time, it's the errors. A lot of times, a small business, it's the small business tax exemption. Most small businesses don't know how to apply for that, because it's one of those used to be moments. You fill out a form, send it in, it's done. Well, now you have to go on Mass Tax Connect, which a lot of businesses are familiar with. Easiest, get your accountant to get a small business energy exemption certificate, and then we can help them have that removed. And that stops. And in some cases, you're talking significant money that they're paying each month, and they had no idea.
Yeah. And you mentioned one of the first things you mentioned is that natural gas prices are extremely low. So how would somebody go about, getting locked in right now?
Sure. And this past winter's about 70 cents a therm. Some cases may have been higher. Again, we get authorization just to get them quotes, because we go to the market, we go to many suppliers and say, okay, here's a bill. So we need a copy of the bill, all the pages. Here's the bill. What can you do for them? And then we get various quotes. Well, basically, whatever the best quote is, this is what we offer. I know I just did a restaurant pizza place. It's under 55 cents a therm. We're paying 70, down to 55. That's a nice decrease.
That is a nice decrease. That's for
And it's
sure.
fixed, which means there's no variant. That's what your price is.
Wow. And then for solar panels, is there a time where you look at somebody and say, "Oh, I think you should go with solar compared to natural gas"? How do you help folks decide?
Sure. Well, depends on a lot of times on the roof. You know? if it's nice and flat, it's a great time to look at solar because there's still money and tax advantages for that.
It all depends on the roof, if it's flat, if it gets sun or not. That's how you help people.
Correct. And again, we look at the bill. We have solar specialists that look at it and they'll compute and see, okay, does this make sense financially? And a lot of times, solar projects we look at, they have the money. Great if they want to finance it. You can finance it. And what your reduction in electricity costs would be, you may get a break. All you're doing is instead of paying for your electricity, you're paying for your solar panels, which is a great deal because in a few years, you own them and they're yours. And in the meantime, you're getting great tax advantages. So we encourage, and that could be, we covered rooftop. When I'm done, 11 o'clock today, I'm actually going to a place looking at carports of business. Those are very aesthetically pleasing and they dual function, but there's also ground mounts. So there's a lot of different opportunity.
And then I just think it's interesting. I guess I didn't realize on the electric bill, you said that there's an electrical vehicle charge. It's now on your bill now. And it would be the very last line. Is that what you're saying?
That's correct. When you look at your lines on the national grid, they have all these lines and you see energy efficiencies in there. So they pool the money to upgrade lighting, to do these things. So we're paying for it. Might as well take advantage of it. Someone's going to. Same thing with electric vehicle charges. They pool the money and then they try to fund projects. So they can't keep it. They've got to fund it. They got to spend it. It's there. You just need to go ahead and see if you qualify and apply for these. I mentioned energy credits and we talked briefly. Energy credits I really love to chat with anyone who has electric bill, whether business or resident. Simply for those who can't do solar or don't want to, if you see the solar farms out there, how they work, they generate energy into the grid and pay in credits. Well, they need money like the rest of us. So what they allow folks to do through us, they apply to the solar farm. If approved, a portion of a solar farm is dedicated to their bill. Now, it doesn't mean that the energy goes from the solar farm right to your home or business. It all goes to the grid. What it does mean, whatever that portion generates in credits each and every month comes off your bill. For an example, right? So if for business, $1,000 in credits was generated, $1,000 comes off your electric bill, and a few weeks later, the solar project sends you an invoice and, hey, remember us, right? We paid you $1,000 off your bill. You pay them 10% less. That's $900. And it's about the entire bill. So it's not about delivery or the supply. It's about the bill itself. So it's a great way to encourage people really get involved with energy credits. Wonderful.
Right. So Steve, if folks want to get a hold of you, how do they do that?
You can call Quest Energy Solutions at 774-420-7000. I remind folks, it's what you don't know about energy that leaves you in the dark.
I love it. Great tagline. Great tagline. Thank you for joining us, Stephen Lentz. And our last segment coming up, we will be joined with Sheila Corbett from Ergo Girls. Stay tuned.
Since 1889, Bank Hometown has stepped up to bat for our neighbors. In the past 5 years, we've donated $1.3 million to local organizations that help enrich lives and bring people together. And we're not stopping there. We're always looking to tackle the challenges of today and fuel the leaders of tomorrow. No matter how life changes over the years, we'll continue to show up for our neighbors, for our communities, and for you. Bank Hometown. Unlock your potential.
This is Radio Worcester. Local talk, local news, local events. We got it, and we've got opinions that you're going to want to hear.
That Worcester will be thought of and spoken about.
We're live every morning, 6 to 10 a.m., and if you can't catch us then, you can find us online day and night at radioworcester.com. This is your town. This is your morning show. Talk of the Commonwealth with Hank and Ben.
In 2020, Massachusetts tourism, the third largest industry in the state, was drastically impacted by COVID-19. But in the face of this worrying turn, our community didn't sit idle. You continue to discover all that Central Massachusetts has to offer. You shopped with us, dined with us, shared with us, stayed with us. You discovered outdoor adventures. And your discoveries made a world of difference to local businesses that needed support. Every gift, every takeout order, every dollar spent in the region makes an impact. So thank you for ensuring no matter what life throws at us, discovery never stops. Here's to the new year. In 2021, we'll build a stronger tourism industry together.
Worcester, a city with heart, history, and promise. A hub of innovation in life sciences, education, and healthcare. Home to multi-generational families, first-generation citizens, and next-generation baseball and hockey greats. Home to great parks, world-class museums, theaters, and restaurants. Worcester, the place to visit, to invest, and to call home.